Good morning, PP3G. It is Friday, the 5th of June, and somehow or other we've done a week. We've done a week of our second half of Trinity Term. We've got a great wow word today. I think this is a word that you could definitely use in some of your story writing. And the word is imposing. Imposing. It's an absolutely brilliant word. I love it. So let me show you the picture that goes with it. There we go. So imposing means grand or impressive. Okay. So in this case, like a building so big it towers over you. So it's something that you sort of come along and you go, wow, that's impressive, that's imposing. And I remember years ago when I went to Rome for the first time, and I came up out of the sort of their underground, and I was going to see the Colosseum, and I was really excited about seeing the Colosseum because I'd read all about it and I knew about it, but I'd never seen it in real life. And when I came up out of the underground and sort of walked up onto the street, suddenly there it was, you know, one of the most famous buildings in the world, the Colosseum, right before my eyes, this imposing building. It was very imposing. I was like, wow, I was really wowed by it. And I think I felt the same way when I saw the Eiffel Tower. And I think people who come to London feel like that when they see Big Ben or Tower Bridge. It's just quite, you know, wow, imposing buildings. So that's imposing. It is used in 5.9% of stories, and it doesn't have to be about buildings. It can be about people. There can be somebody who's quite impressive and imposing in their appearance. So you can have an imposing presence or an imposing person. So I'm going to read you a little bit here from, there's an author called Rick Riordan, and perhaps when you're a little bit older, he's done a lot of really good books, and he does a lot of books about, he wrote Percy Jackson books, and he also writes a lot about gods, about Greek mythology and Roman gods and things like that. So this is a little quote from one of his books using the word imposing. The other gods bowed respectfully to us, but I could feel their hostility simmering just below the surface. Hostility means they weren't angry, they weren't welcoming. They were all dressed in their finest armour, and they looked quite imposing. There we go, that's from the Kane Chronicles, The Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan. Ooh, what an interesting, that sounds like an interesting book actually, doesn't it? So these gods were all dressed up in their fine armour, and they were sort of towering over this person in the book, and they were imposing, quite imposing. So I think you'll be able to use that in a really interesting sentence actually. So let's put our hands together. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh my God, you love me. You are with me night and day. I want to love you always in all I do and say. I will try to please you, Father. Bless me through the day. Amen. In the name of the Father and the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Have a fabulous weekend. I'll see you all later in your tutorials.